What's up, everybody? This is Derek here. Welcome to another exciting cast and analysis of a game played by MortaL, one of the best PUBG mobile players in the world. He just dropped 51 kills in a high-level game with his squad, and oh my gosh, that's over half the lobby. So if you understand Hindi, I recommend watching the video on his channel. I'll leave a link in the video description down below. He is an amazing player, and his commentary is pretty hilarious as he plays with his squad. However, if you do not understand Hindi, that's why I'm doing this, providing English commentary for his games, because I think that everybody deserves to watch him and learn from the tactics that he as well as his squad employ, because they are pretty solid players and definitely can all learn something from him. So you can see they dropped Georgia Pile crates. It's very difficult to actually even find this many players in a game. 51 players, my goodness. So Iconic, one of his squad mates, definitely plays more aggressive than he does. So there's definitely a juxtaposition almost between how those players approach certain situations, and that works well together. It's good to have a player who is a little more tactical, like MortaL is, and somebody who is not afraid of getting in there and getting those quick knocks, like Iconic. We also have Ruchi and Raven, so those round out the squad. Like I said, you can see they dropped. Georgia Pole dropped in a hot location. Has an S12K. MortaL prefers to use the DMRs and like the DP, the ARs. That seems to be what he's most comfortable with, but he can rock an S12K for sure. And definitely one of the better early game weapons, especially in crates where most of your engagements are going to be within, I'd say, 20 to 30 meters or so. So now he is lobbing a frag grenade into one of the warehouses there. He knows that there are people in there, probably just trying to deny them pushing while his squad is currently, oh my gosh, what the heck was that guy doing? Currently engaged with this other squad. So in order to avoid the third party, I think that's mostly what he's going for there, just throwing in grenades as cover. You can see they are now pushing, and I like this. So he actually, let's say, watch as he checks the building. This one's actually clear, so they moved out already. But instead of vaulting, he just hops over. You can see there's a little bunny hop there. That is a lot faster. There's another person running. Not even sure if he has a gun yet. And there we go. Another player down. Raven gets a nice knock with the AK. Oh my gosh. Nice knock with the M416. I'm actually a little surprised they're not dropping an AR for MortaL, just because, like I said, that's definitely what he's more comfortable with. But either way, going for the squad wipe now that they know where everybody is. And this person has some pretty decent starting gear. Had a shotgun, Mini 14. And you can see MortaL is now playing a 4-finger claw. So I think he's going to make a video on his channel explaining the setup in more detail, because it seemed that there was a lot of interest in this. But he plays on an iPad, so that definitely differentiates him from a lot of the really highly ranked players in third-person perspective Asia servers. A lot of those guys are on emulators. So I think he's one of, if not the highest player who actually plays on a mobile device, the iPad. So playing 4-finger claw, looks like he is using his left index for firing, left thumb for auto run, as well as his backpack and his directionals. And then his right hand, his index finger is very busy. He does scoping in, peeking, jumping, crouching, and weapon selection, and quick scope. And then his right thumb does prone and reload. So you can see they were able to finish off that squad. Unfortunately, only had a 2 times on that Mini 14, and that meant that they did lose 2 teammates, although both of them, Iconic, who, like I said, is typically a more aggressive player, as well as Raven, both of them were not finished off. So they were able to finish off the enemy squad quick enough to ensure that everybody stayed alive. So you switch to a Scar L as well as the S12K, so he still has the shotgun. And now he's just going to advance through some of the more boring parts of the game. You can see there he swaps out the buggy for a Dacia, provides better protection. Lots of pro players going for the Dacia over the UAZ. It's a little faster and a little more difficult to shoot people. The windows are a little bit lower to the ground, so seems to provide some additional protection. Like I was mentioning in a previous video, the difference between the hardtop UAZ and the softtop, not as large as you think. Softtop UAZ actually preferable because of the smaller rear window. So you can see a super airdrop, and this is a huge mistake. If you fire a flare gun in a high level game, you want to make sure that you never stay right where the airdrop or the super airdrop comes down, because you are a huge target. Instead, the recommended strategy is to stay a couple hundred meters away from it and either bait other people into it, or just arrive there right, vacate the area and then arrive right as it lands on the ground. But you do not want to stick around these locations, because you're going to get those aggressive squads who are going for kills, who see a flare in the sky or see a super airdrop. That triple parachute is very distinguishable from a few hundred meters away, and then takes you out. So you see they're now rotating into the zone. Here is, so actually they are going to swing a right. Oh yeah, and they see a Dacia right. So, oh my gosh, it just flew over the air Dacia. So this is the advantage of the single car strategy, is that especially at the higher levels here, you have 3 players, and look at that, they're all tracking the car very well, almost in unison, but you have 3 people able to fire at the same time, versus 2-car strategy, you're limited to only 2 players being able to fire. So this is the compound to the northeast of School Apartments. It's a pretty, I believe that's where they are. It's a pretty common one to visit because it has a vehicle spawn. Iconic gets a nice knock with the AWM that he got from that super airdrop. Unfortunately, Raven is finished off, so she went down in the grass, was unable to be revived, unable to seek shelter. Very curious how these players will do in 0.9.5 when that is released and the competitive or hardcore Erangel mode are released, where you do not see where you're getting shot from on the minimap. You have to reload your own weapons, and a good number of other changes. Definitely check out my channel for the video I made about that yesterday, I think, or maybe 2 days ago. So there's another super airdrop. That's where they were obviously taking the fire from squad up there. Look at those smoke grenades. They're going to be going in, trying to figure out exactly where everybody is now. Player jumps out. They hear footsteps. Okay, so they are still in this building. So runs in with the M249, does about 500 DPS, which is very, very solid, as much as any other AR. With that massive 100 round magazine, allows you to just fire continuously. It's a nice gun, because if you have serious skill, you can use it to blow up vehicles, and it's one of those guns that honestly has a much lower barrier to entry than other ones. So you take something like the SLR, and you need to be pretty good with recoil control in order to be able to actually manage it effectively, especially at range. But something like the M249, you kind of just point and shoot, and you're good to go. So they're now rotating to, they catch another squad who is currently running down. They are rotating closer to the zone. They still have about 445 meters to the next safe zone, throwing a Molotov into the top floor window to distract the players who may be up there. Actually gets a nice, is that a molly finish? I think it was a finish from the Molotov. And Molotovs not utilized nearly as much as frag grenades, but in the higher level games, they definitely serve a purpose. Now, stun grenade needs a rework, because I've never seen somebody in Conqueror or Ace tier using one effectively. Smokes, pick up as many as you want, or as many as you can pick up. Frag grenades, typically good to pick up at least 3 of them, but stun grenades, not so much. So this is an amazing building clear here. So they hear everybody in this compound. So a couple stay outside to engage the people who are jumping. You can see he just doesn't even have to pre-fire. The guy behind the stairs, Potatoes, he had a line of sight there. Now MortaL is going to jump out onto the balcony, take out the guy who is hiding in the corner. That was a call out, I believe, from one of his squad mates, and just like that, the entire enemy squad is dead. So that is the advantage of rushing. They had 2 players outside the building for a while. They had MortaL and 1 teammate going up the stairs, and that way they were able to very easily finish off that squad, get a squad wipe in about 15 seconds, which was pretty ridiculous because generally the defenders have the advantage in a situation like that, especially with a pretty good split. They had one person in the little closet room there, second floor. They had one person in the corner of the balcony, and here comes a vehicle. This is not good for them. They have the M249, going to start unloading on it in just a second. Wait until it's a little bit closer so they definitely can't escape. And I have a feeling that vehicle is going to blow. Unfortunately, it disappears behind the trees. And that was definitely a missed opportunity because, so basically, there's always a discussion regarding how quickly do you want to engage the vehicle, because you let them get too close and they're crashing the compound. If you engage too far away, then they're going to just try to swerve, change direction, and then get out without you being able to finish them off. So definitely a judgment call, and it kind of depends on how aggressive your players are too. So they have now avoided they're not going to be using a vehicle. It is too loud at this point in the game. They're going to be running to the south where that vehicle disappeared, hopefully to get some kills from that squad that is going to have to rotate towards them. So they could gatekeep them as the zone closes in. They see a player right there, 105 bottom of the hill. A couple players actually. So MortaL going to go to work with the M249 again. And usually, like I said, usually he prefers the DP in situations like this with nice headshot, but usually prefers the DP with a 4x for longer range, and then something like the M762 or the AK for shorter range engagements. So you can see they are going to be able to gatekeep that squad. He's peeking. One of his teammates there is peeking with the AWM, and as this zone starts to close in, these guys are dead. They have no cover. He could have tried to throw smokes and stuff, but quite honestly, they're going to die to the zone anyways. That's where later in the game, you just have to be super careful about rotating. Now, other players also, or another enemy squad rather, also liked this ridge line. It's a good ridge. The next zone is a hard shift to the south. That means they're already in the next one. And they're going to fan out. It looks like they're going to fan probably 3-1 or 2-2. And there's the guy behind. He sees him behind the rock here. So he's going to rush him with the S12K. Take some nice shots. I'm surprised he didn't knock him before that. And here's the guy on the other side of the rock. So MortaL is by himself, but he does have backup. His teammates were up the hill, so worked out pretty well. And who was it? Who was with him? Yeah, because remember, there are only 3 players now because Raven was killed earlier. So MortaL was able to get the clutch there. Surprised. Like I said, MortaL, if you're watching this video, definitely comment in the comments down below why you kept the S12K as long as you did. Nothing wrong with that, but like I said, I'm so used to seeing you with a DP or an AK or an M762 now that I'm curious what the strategy was there. Maybe the team comp was a little bit different, and they always work on having like a really good spread for weapons. And oh my gosh, that is why you don't snake this far away. So remember, grass and ground clutter only renders about 100 meters away. Actually, on Erangel, it's a little more than that. I think it's like 160, 140, but it is not that far. So if you are that far away, you are exposed. Those people were snaking in the grass, probably thinking they were safe, and they were not safe. They were actually just out in the open for the picking. And Rushi actually has the DP, so let me know. Like I said, I'm surprised. I'm so used to seeing you with the DP. But now they have this amazing hill. They have cleared. So the reason they pushed to the air side and cleared out that squad by the rock earlier is because they wanted to make sure that nobody was going to come up to the side of them. That way, as the zone closes, there are going to be players off to their east through west that are going to have to move into this next safe zone. And they're in an excellent spot. They have the hill to their advantage, and they can engage those people. You can see some smokes off to the northeast there. Remember, smokes do render out as far as people do, so about 320 meters. So, smoke grenades are a very viable strategy, but snaking in the grass is not. And that does not look good. So, It probably was dead anyways, but if you have to run into the zone like that, try to zigzag, because if you're running straight at somebody, it's a very, very easy kill. If you're zigzagging, it makes makes where you're going to be a little less predictable. So you can see the next zone is a shift to the west. Nice knock with the AWM, that 8x scope. So they notice that they do not have cover here, so they are going to have to rotate into the zone early. So that's why they're pushing right now, as opposed to waiting until the zone is closing. They want to make sure that they establish themselves somewhere in here, because there are 7 players left alive. So most likely it's the 3 of them versus a full squad. And he knows where a couple of them are. So he's going to go ahead and Molotov into the second story window. Could have been a good Molotov. Looks like it might have worked. Ruchi goes up first, and that was impressive. So there you have it. Chicken dinner just like that. So again, it was a full squad, but the combination of Molotov and the aggressive play, aggression typically pays off in a game like this, as you can see right there. And check out those kills: 18, 16, 9, and 8. My goodness. 51 total, over half the lobby, at a very high level game too. So very impressive play by MortaL. If you guys enjoyed it, definitely give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to his channel as well as my own. My name's DerekG, and I'll see you in a future video soon.